So many years ago, I saw one of these in a restaurant. And, well, I thought to myself even back then, gee, that's kind of a cool device, but I was never able to use it. I kept seeing them over the years, still didn't know what the hell they were. And finally, and about 10 years ago, I spotted one in a garage sale and asked what the hell it was. And he said, oh, it's a Pachinko machine. Still didn't know what the hell Google was back then. But yes, it turns out this is your Japanese form of gambling. More so, I don't think they really have the thing for slots over there, but they have devices like these. And for some reason, a lot of these got imported to North America. So they're really not all that expensive compared to, say, slot machines or pinball machines, but they're still pretty enjoyable. And if you click on my hand right here, you can actually go and watch me play this for a little while. Other than that, well, okay, I picked this one up here for $50. Like I said, they're cheap. You're looking at about $30 to $150, even for one in pretty decent condition made between the 60s and the 80s. Once you get past the 80s, things seem to get, there we go, very complex and electronic and all that, and the modern ones are just basically ridiculous. But these old ones here don't really require any electricity, so they can be used anywhere. And they can also come available in these strange frames. And before we do that, let's just give a little overview of what we have on the front here. So this is the playing field. And you have these little tiny buckets right here. We actually have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 buckets. And you shoot the ball out with the launcher here. It comes out, round, and it uses these pins to navigate around. You really have no control over that. There's a couple little spinners right here. And if it goes in one of these, you get a payout, and it comes out into this tray here. And along over to here, where actually it feeds into the machine. And you can launch. You can actually see the whole launching mechanism in this little window here. And down here, we actually have our ball return tray. And this is in case, say, we have a launch that doesn't go in. It becomes a dud. So you can just get it back over here. I also use it as a place just to store my extra balls. And just to show how old this thing is, we actually have an ashtray over here with these little grooves that you can place your cigarette in. And when it needs to be cleaned, it's hinged so it just kind of tips out. That's kind of cool. And up here we have our locking mechanism. We have a couple of fancy pieces of plastic over here. They're transparent, but really there's no lamp behind them besides this one here. And I'll get to that one there in a moment. Anyways, like I was saying, this is all some fancy little frame. And you basically have this. And I have to use this. So you'd mount this into the wall or into a cabinet or a frame. The key in the front here, you turn the key and the whole front, this one's really stiff for some reason, is hinged and it can come on out. So it's really fancy if you mount it directly to a wall like some collectors tend to do. That being said, you can also access the front of this machine by another lever on the other side once you do open it with the key. And that first releases the front so you can service anything in here at once, tip over. Or if you want to replace the glass and plexiglass, which slides out. And down here there's another lever that if I push down, I can release. And I can get access into more of the chute and the launcher. And I can do oiling or clean or collect stray balls that may have fallen in there. And this particular unit is made from a company called Besta, or at least that's the series. There's a couple of certifications here in the corner. I really don't know anything about them. I can't really translate them. But it says over here, Besta. I haven't really Googled it up yet. It might be the manufacturer. I'll have to double check into it. Anyways, we turn it around because it's on this beautiful frame. And like I said, there is no real electronics inside this device. You do have a switch here and a lamp behind it, which is used to indicate if this hopper up here, which is where all your prize balls go, and if that goes empty, a light turns on, and this little armature here prevents balls from going into the launcher, just in case you do have any in there. And you have these posts up here. You have positive battery terminal, negative battery terminal here, and this one here, it's the return for the lamp here. And say in the pachinko parlor, you would have at the operator's desk just an entire bank of lamps. And when this machine goes empty, he doesn't have to be wandering around the parlor looking for machines out of order. Using a line connected to this to his panel, the lamp on his panel would turn on and he'd say, oh, well, machine 72 needs to have more balls added into it. And he can go do that. Payout mechanism right here for the bonuses right here. There's 2 bells in this thing. This is the one you normally will hear, and that's just from whenever you actually manage to get a bonus. You have another one down here which doesn't do anything at all. I'd expect it to ring when, say, a ball falls into the, well, it's a loser, but that doesn't do anything. There is this odd little arm here, which is attached to the launcher, and I almost think it actually would go to the bell. However, there is no direct connection to it. My assumption is that at one time, every time you use the launcher, it rang the bell, but I guess some guy got it home first and decided, let's remove that because it's driving me crazy. There's also a lot of rust in this thing. Every nail head and fastener in here is rusted if it isn't made out of brass. So I had to do a fair bit of cleaning. Actually, this whole payout arm right here was stuck. So I had to carefully pull the machine apart, and I couldn't even lubricate it. I had to hone it and refit it. And that was a whole weird chore on its own because there's like, you gotta take this off, this off, this off. There's actually a sequence in which you have to do all that. You have to take a whole bunch of other screws off, and then there's these 2 here, but this plastic yellow panel at the bottom is actually bolted back here from the front, and there is no way to remove the front per se besides the payout and reject bins, which the 2 screws are not behind. Everything's nailed in place, so I just kind of bent this back, pulled it out, fixed it, put it back in, and it was fine. Other than that, yeah, nothing else in here. Down at the very bottom here, you can't really see it with the camera. Actually, you can. 2 little indents here. You put your ball tray, and that's where your payout ball return goes, and that just dumps it into the bin because you don't actually get it back when you play. And then you have this one over here, which is where your rejects, and when you want to dump out the entire bin on top, it just goes down into the bottom here as well. Anyways, I kind of like this machine. I'm going to have to do a little bit more work and a bit more cleaning to it because it's really quite filthy on the front side. And by the way, you can empty the hopper on top from the front of the unit. You basically stick a pin in here and that just does it for you. I don't know why that wouldn't be something maybe under a lock or key, but there you go. And by the way, balls. Yes, this thing doesn't use coins or anything like that. It uses these... Is it going to fall over? No. Uses these fancy little stainless steel or chrome balls. And just for identification, so you don't transfer them from pachinko parlor to pachinko parlor, they're all marked with like something specific. Like this one has a heart shape on it. You can't see it because this isn't going to focus on it for you. But it's got a heart shape in it with a little bit of kanji in there that I can't... Is that kanji? It's got a bit of Japanese text I can't read, but it does have katakana on the side of it saying hato, which is, well, heart. So I have a whole bunch of that. There's maybe a couple others in here because it is a fair mix. What's this one here? Fuji. Okay. But yeah, you put these into the machine. Normally the hopper on top is full. You add them in here. You play. Your rejects go down here. Talked all of that before. Now, why the hell are we actually using pachinko balls here? I'll just make it quick and simple here. You can't really get cash payouts in Japan from any kind of gambling machine. It's just against the law. So they use pachinko balls in this case. Anyways, I'm going to have a lot of fun with this. I got to go and clean it and change a piece of glass in it and talk to you later.